What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy. I'm back. Tunnel Vision. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? Ah, Bobby, man. Bobby, man. Bob Arum comes through with more of that crap, man, that we've heard time and time and time again. And like he says, fans are like dumb rocks that you can throw in any direction. And with this, it's basically that's all it is, in my opinion. This man says that he's hopes to make Spence versus Crawford for early 2020. Then in the same breath says that Earl Spence versus Sean Porter, it's a good fight, but it's not a pay-per-view fight. So you want to set up this fight, but you're gonna do that by trashing the fight that this dude's about to do. It's all just BS, man. When it comes to Bob Arum, if he really wants to do a fight straight up, he's not talking about it in the press like that. He's just gonna go and get it done, and you're gonna hear about it later. That's how he gets things done. The reality situation is, when it comes to Crawford, he doesn't intend on putting Crawford in against anybody that means anything. So what he's gonna do is basically do the same thing he did in the Manny Pacquiao era. He's gonna try to attach Terrence Crawford's name to Earl Spence and try to bring eyes to his event, with the potential of a Earl Spence fight happening. That's all it is. Nothing more. You don't trash another man's event like that if you truly want to set up a fight with him. And I just don't see it happening whatsoever. Um, Terrence Crawford, I mean, a fight like with somebody like him, you're looking at what? He probably can, depending on what ESPN is giving Bob Arum, he probably is going to make the same kind of money in like 4 fights, 5, 6 fights. And in his head, he'd rather do that because then you have fight number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. You got all those fights, so that's all he cares about, and drag it on for 3, 4, whatever years. And then he's the type of person that won't even care if the fight happens at all. You know, the only way I see that fight happening is if Terrence Crawford puts his foot down and says, "I'm not fighting anymore unless that next fight is Earl Spence," or does something like does it, in this last fight, saying, "Yo, that's it. If Spence is the next, I'm not doing another fight. I'm gonna do another fight. I'm not gonna sign any kind of extensions. And if I have to sit out, then so be it. I'm gonna sit out." When it comes to, he talked about how they did the fight with Campbell and Lomachenko, and they went to another network. But when it comes to that fight, that was a mandatory. So you had to figure something out, or it's going to go to purse bids. When it comes to, he said with Ramirez, he talked about how with Ramirez, he sent him to go fight Hooker. Okay, yeah, but with Ramirez, that was Ramirez's last fight. So Ramirez basically got what he wanted in that unification, but he had to sign an extension, and he did sign that extension. So Ramirez had some kind of leverage in order to get what he wants, and unlike Crawford, he went ahead and used that leverage, and now he has 2 belts. He got, I'm not sure how much of that check he got. We hear Top Rank got a lot of bread. They got like 4 mil or so. I mean, at first I was thinking that Ramirez made like $5 million. Might not have been the case. Bob Arum might have been making $4 or $5 million. But, and he signed the extension. So, yes, he's back with 2 belts. Are you going to send Terrence Crawford out? Are you going to let Terrence Crawford go to PBC or to Fox and fight over there? He won't even let Terrence Crawford go to the Zone or go and fight in the UK against Kell Brooks. Because I'm sure that fight could be made. Why not make that fight? Kell Brooks said he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. Let Terrence Crawford go to the UK and fight Kell Brooks on Sky Sports or whatever and make that money. But, it seems Terrence Crawford is someone that he's that workhorse that is consistent. That guy that's always going to bring in those numbers, whether it be on ESPN Plus, whether it be on regular ESPN, he's going to bring those numbers. He's the only guy on that roster that brings any real money when it comes to the gates. Lomachenko usually brings in about 3,000 plus people that actually, buy tickets, around 3,000. They give up a bunch of them, and he ends up usually having about 5,000 people or so at his fights. That's it. The only guy that's really bringing in that bread is Terrence Crawford. And at the same time, he keeps trying to stifle Terrence Crawford at the same time as well too. Doesn't want him to become even a bigger star, because in his head, like, he needs Lomachenko to become that star. He needs Tyson Fury to become that star. So that's where he puts that money. So ironically, believe it or not, damn, what if he sends Terrence Crawford to fight against Earl Spence and he beats Earl Spence? Then this guy's a superstar. What? It's weird, but what Bob Arum doesn't want. Just like he didn't want, Floyd Mayweather to be the star. He wanted Miguel Cotto to become a star. He wanted Oscar De La Hoya to stay the star. So he stifled Floyd Mayweather's career, which would have been one of the biggest money generators from him ever if, everything was done right. But he didn't want that. He stifled him. What's basically happened to Terrence Crawford. So for him to try to set up this fight will go completely against all that. So, I don't see it happening whatsoever. The only way this fight happens, I believe, at this point, is probably if, Terrence Crawford pushes the issue. At the end of 2020, I believe that his contract with Bob Arum is supposed to be up. That's what they've said. So if he pushes the issue and says, no, I'm not fighting again, or I'm not extending unless Earl Spence is next, and puts him into a space where they have to set up that fight, if he does that, just like Ramirez did, then I can see it happening. Because Chavez Jr. also did the same thing. That's why we saw the Martinez fight. Because he said, nah, I'm going to need that fight, or I'm not signing any extension. And they gave him the fight, and he signed the extension. So, it's going to be all up to Crawford, man. As far as Bob Arum, it's the same old thing. Don't be a dumb rock and let that dude throw you in any direction. Don't let that happen, man. And Terrence Crawford, he's just going to have to put his foot down, and say, nah, this is what I need to happen. And if he says that, I could see it happening at the end of 2020. I definitely can see that fight happening at the end of 2020. But if he doesn't, until, he puts his foot down and decides to do what's necessary to make things happen, don't see that fight happening. But, hopefully Earl Spence handles his business with Porter. Whoever he fights next handles his business then. And then hopefully end of 2020, Terrence Crawford's on his business. We get this fight set up, done, and we watch the clash that we've all been waiting for. But as of now, not going to happen. Subscribe, like, share the videos. See you on the next one.